Every morning, long before the sun appears over the distant hills, Arun opens his eyes to the soft sound of roosters crowing. He lies still for a moment, breathing in the cool, damp air that drifts through the small window of his simple home. His wooden floor creaks beneath him as he sits up and swings his legs over the edge of the bed. The faded cotton sheet falls away, and he stands barefoot on the rough planks, feeling the chill of dawn under his feet. He dresses quickly, pulling on an old pair of trousers patched at the knees, and a thin shirt that has faded from many washings. His clothes are plain, without any decoration, but they serve him well for the work he does each day. In the corner of the room, the straw-filled mattress waits unmade. Behind him, a small cupboard holds his few belongings: a worn book of poems, cherished photograph of his late mother, and a small metal box containing tea leaves and a single silver coin. Stepping outside, Arun pauses to listen. The farm lies, wrapped in deep silence, broken only by the soft rustle of leaves and the distant drip of water from an old trough. The air smells of earth and grass, fresh from last night's light rain. He breathes deeply, feeling a sense of peace settle over him. Though life here is simple, it is honest, and that honesty brings him joy. He walks along a narrow path toward the goat pen, where 3 goats stand waiting. One nudges him gently with its head, hungry for its morning feed. Arun smiles and reaches into a sack slung over his shoulder, pulling out handfuls of grain. He scatters it carefully before the animals. Watching as they eat eagerly, their bleats blend with the soft morning chorus of birds, and for a moment, Arun feels part of something larger than himself. After feeding the goats, Arun makes his way to the fields. The small patch of land he farms sits just beyond a line of tall trees. Here rows of green plants reach toward the sky, their leaves still heavy with dew. Every few steps he inspects the plants. A few leaves yellowed by pests, a small blossom turning into a vegetable. He kneels by the earth, running his fingers through the soil to judge its health, feels loamy and moist the foundation for a good harvest. With care, he pulls a few stubborn weeds that threaten to choke the crops, dropping them into a woven basket. He hums softly as he works, a gentle tune that his mother used to sing when he was a boy. His back grows warm as the sun climbs higher, sending golden light filtering through the trees. For a moment, Arun stops and stands upright, wiping sweat from his forehead with the sleeve of his shirt. He feels the warmth of the sun on his face and smiles, humbled by the gift of a new day. By mid-morning, the sun shines bright and the air warms quickly. Arun leaves the fields and heads to the small farm shed where he keeps his tools. He selects a hammer and a few nails, preparing to fix a loose board on the fence. The wood has rotted in places, and he knows he must repair it before the next rainy season. As he works, a line of clouds drifts across the sky, casting brief shadows over the land. He listens to the steady tap of the hammer, each strike a reminder that his hands build and sustain this place. When the fence is sturdy again, Arun wipes his hands on a cloth and glances at his watch. It is nearly time to visit the market town a few miles away. He pauses at the edge of the property and looks back at the homestead. The small house, the fenced fields, the pen of goats. Everything here is a result of his own 2 hands and the land's quiet generosity. He feels pride in what he has built, even if it seems small compared to the grand estates of wealthier men. Taking a deep breath, Arun secures his tools and slings. The cloth over his shoulder, he sets off along the dirt road that winds past his farm, carrying only a small bag containing a few coins, a clean handkerchief, and his favorite metal water cup. The road is empty at this hour, and the morning air feels fresh in his lungs. He walks with a steady pace, thinking of the simple barbershop in town where he plans to have his hair trimmed. A neat appearance matters to him, even if his clothes are plain. He believes everyone deserves respect. As he nears the town, the road widens and dust swirls with every breeze. Small shops line the street, a bakery with the smell of fresh bread drifting out, a tea stall where 2 women chat over steaming cups, and a tiny pharmacy where herbs hang from the doorway in neat bundles. Arun greets these sights with a nod. Though few notice him, he moves quietly among them as though he were part of the morning itself. At last he arrives at the barber shop. The small building has chipped paint and a faded sign, but inside it is bright and busy. A row of mismatched chairs faces a long mirror, and a few men sit waiting for their turn. Walls patterned with old posters show haircuts of every style, from the simplest to the most elaborate. Arun steps inside, his heart light, but with a trace of nervousness, for he knows how important dignity can be. Yet he worries. His worn boots and dusty trousers might invite a glance of judgment. "Good morning," he says softly to the barber. "A young man named Vikram. A simple trim, please." Vikram glances up, his expression unreadable. For a moment, he studies Arun's face, as though sizing him up. Arun hands over a few coins and sits down, placing his water cup carefully on a small table beside him. As Vikram drapes a plastic cape over Arun's shoulders, Arun catches his reflection in the mirror, the lines on his face, the thoughtful eyes, the gentle curve of his shoulders. He steels himself for the cut. The first snips of the scissors sound sharp in the quiet room. Arun closes his eyes and tries to focus on the rhythm, the soft click of scissors, the whisper of falling hair. No. But then he hears a low laugh behind him. Opening his eyes, he sees Vikram talking in a quiet voice to a customer seated nearby. Arun strains to hear the words. Something about a farmer's son and muddy boots. The customer laughs, and then another. Arun's heart sinks. He sits perfectly still, pretending not to hear. Each snip of the scissors feels heavier now, like a weight pressing on his shoulders. He wonders if he should stop them, tell them to be quiet, but he doesn't want to cause a scene. He came here for a simple trim, nothing more. The barber works quickly, ignoring Arun's sudden stiffness. Arun's mind drifts back to the fields and the goats, to the steady work that brings him pride. He reminds himself that true worth is not measured by clothes or looks, but by what he builds and how he cares for others. After a few more cuts, Vikram brushes the hair clippings off Arun's neck and shoulders. Arun reaches for the water cup and takes a sip, letting the cool metal soothe his tense throat. He pays the barber in silence, standing up slowly to avoid drawing attention. The laughter around him has stopped, but the echo of it lingers. Arun steps outside into the bright morning again. The breeze carries fresh smells of baking bread and cooking tea, straightens his shoulders, and takes a deep breath. Though his heart still stings, he feels a quiet strength growing inside him. He reminds himself of the good work waiting at home, of the earth that nourishes him, and of the simple life he chose. With that thought, he turns down the road toward the market, resolved to face whatever comes next with the same humble pride he carries every day. Arun walks away from the barber shop with quiet steps. His head feels lighter, but his heart still carries the weight of humiliation. He pauses at the edge of town, where the dirt road meets a fork. To the left, the path leads back home. To the right, it winds toward the market square. Today he must go to the market, for he promised to sell fresh vegetables to the traders there. His crops depend on these sales, and he cannot delay. He chooses the road to the market, tightening the strap. On his small bag, inside are the vegetables he harvested this morning. Firm green beans, bright red tomatoes, and a few crisp cucumbers. He hums softly as he walks, trying to leave behind the sting of the barber's laughter. The sun climbs higher, painting the sky a clear blue. A gentle breeze sways the leaves of tall trees that border the road. Every few steps, he greets a neighbor who works in their own fields. They nod in return, friendly but busy. Arun reminds himself that in his village, most people know him well. They respect him for his kindness and for the work he does, even if strangers in the barber shop did not. Soon the road opens into the busy market square. Stalls line three sides of a large dirt clearing. Colorful cloths hang overhead, shading the goods below. Farmers set out baskets of fresh produce. Bakers display loaves of golden bread, and weavers show bolts of bright fabric. The air is alive with chatter and the smell of fresh herbs and spices. Arun steps into this bustle with a calm heart, remembering that here he is among friends and fellow farmers. He finds his usual spot next to an old stone wall, gives shade in the midday heat. Gently, he empties his bag onto the stall table, a neat row of green beans, a pile of shiny tomatoes, and cucumbers arranged like little boats. As he arranges his goods, a few customers pause to look. One woman selects a handful of beans and asks the price. Arun smiles politely, tells her the cost, and she smiles back, satisfied. She places coins in his small wooden box and carries away. Her purchase, Arun feels a small surge of pride. Here his work is valued. A young man named Ramesh, who sells eggs at the stall next door, waves at Arun. Ramesh's stall is always busy. People love fresh eggs. Arun returns the wave. Ramesh leans over and whispers, "They said you looked a little upset after the barbers today." Arun nods, shrugging. He does not want to talk about it. He breaks off part of a fresh cucumber and chews a piece slowly to hide his thoughts. Ramesh gently pats his shoulder. "Don't mind them. People forget what hard work means." Arun thanks him with a nod. As the morning turns to noon, the market grows busier. A woman pushes a small cart loaded with baskets of spices. She stops at Arun's stall and picks up a tomato. She turns it in her hand, inspecting its firmness. "Are so bright," she says. Arun explains that the tomatoes grew in soil mixed with compost and a little rainwater from last week. The woman touches his arm and says, "Your pride shows in your harvest." Arun feels warmth in his chest. Here, among these honest people, his work is praised. Soon the trader who offers to buy produce in bulk arrives. He drives a donkey cart filled with empty crates.
Ow.
He inspects several stalls, nodding thoughtfully.
At
Arun's table, he picks up a tomato, bites into it, and smiles at the sweet, fresh taste. He places 2 crates of tomatoes on the ground and says, "I'll take these, plus more from your farm next week." Arun's eyes glow. This trader always brings good prices. He shakes Arun's hand firmly. Arun thanks him, his voice steady. After the trader leaves with his full crates, Arun feels confident. He packs away 1 crate filled with the remaining vegetables for delivery tomorrow. He counts the coins in his wooden box. The sum looks enough to buy seed for the next planting season and to pay for the few repairs he needs at home, he thanks the market square for its kindness and decides to buy a few small treats before heading back. He wants to give himself a small reward for a morning well spent. He walks over to the bakery stall, where the smell of fresh bread fills the air. The baker is a friendly old man named Suraj. Arun greets him and picks 2 small rolls, them in brown paper, and hands them over with a grin. "On the house," Suraj says, "for the best farmer in town." Arun's heart warms. He thanks Suraj sincerely and tucks the rolls into his bag. Then he stops at the tea stall. 2 women sit nearby, laughing over their cups. The tea seller pours boiled water into a clay cup filled with tea leaves and spices, cardamom, ginger, and a little sugar. Arun accepts the cup. The hot steam rises, carrying the warm scent of the spices. He takes a sip, closing his eyes too. Enjoy the moment. The rough edges of his morning fade away. The warm, spiced tea brings comfort, like a soft blanket. As he finishes the tea, a villager named Lada comes by with her small daughter, Meena. Meena tugs on her mother's sari. She points to Arun's stall. Lada smiles and says to Meena, "That is Mr. Arun, who grows the best vegetables." Meena waves shyly, and Arun waves back. Meena's eyes shine as she takes a small cucumber slice handed by Arun. She bites into it happily and giggles. Arun laughs, and his laugh is genuine and full of ease. The small girl's joy reminds him why he loves his work. Now, with the sun high in the sky, the market begins to quiet. Many customers have gone home. Arun packs the rest of his produce into his cloth bag, gathers his belongings, his wooden money box, the small bag with coins, the empty water cup, and his tools. Tucked under his arm, he waves goodbye to Ramesh, Suraj, and the tea seller. They wave back, calling out wishes for safe travel home. Arun steps onto the dirt road that leads back to his farm. The afternoon sun warms his back gently. He walks with measured steps, thinking about the repairs he will make when he returns. The fence on the north side needs a new board, and one of the goats limps slightly. He must check her hoof. On his way, he plans to stop by the small shed at the edge of the field to fix the loose latch on the door. The journey home feels calm. The road passes by fields of other farmers' rows of corn and millet swaying in the breeze. Birds flit through the air, chasing insects. At one point, Arun hears the soft moo of a cow in a nearby pasture. The boy sits on the fence, watching him. Arun nods, and the boy nods back with a bright smile. These small moments connect him to the heartbeat of the countryside. Soon, Arun reaches his farm gates. The goats look up and run to greet him. One of them nudges his leg, hungry for more food. Arun unties his bag, takes out a handful of feed, and scatters it. The goats nibble eagerly. Arun smiles, kneeling down to scratch behind one goat's ear. The animal closes its eyes in contentment. Arun stands and moves toward the fields. He checks the fence, finding the board that needs replacing. He carries his hammer and nails from inside the shed. He works quietly, measuring the board, cutting it, and fitting it into place. His movements are steady, practiced from many seasons of farm work. Each hammer strike echoes in the peaceful afternoon. When he finishes, he inspects the fence with Dugdas. Satisfaction. It stands firm and safe for the animals. Next, he attends to the limping goat. He kneels next to her, gently lifting her hoof. He brushes away a small pebble lodged between her toes. The goat bleats softly, and Arun whispers soothing words. He rinses the hoof with clean water from his cup and bandages it with a strip of cloth. The goat stands calmly, as though trusting his gentle hands. Arun wipes his hands and looks around. The sun begins to descend, painting the sky with warm shades of orange and pink. Shadows stretch across the fields. A gentle breeze cools the air. Arun feels peace settle over him. He thinks of tomorrow's work, planting new seeds in the empty row. He thinks of the market and the friendly faces who welcomed him today. Most of all, he thinks of dignity, how it blossomed in the market even after it had wilted in the barber shop. He gathers his tools and walks back to the house. Inside, he places the coins carefully in a small wooden box and counts them by lamplight. He writes a note in his ledger, marking today's sales and expenses. Then he hangs his shirt to dry, washes his face, and sits for a simple meal of rice and lentils. Every bite tastes richer after a day of hard work and honest trade. As darkness falls, Aaron steps outside once more. He stands under the vast sky, the first stars blinking into view. He breathes deeply, filled with gratitude. Today he faced humiliation, but he rose above it. He found respect in the market, in friendships, in the work of his own hands. He remembers that dignity is not given by clothes or words, but by the life one leads. With a final glance at the glowing stars, Arun returns inside. He climbs into his wooden bed and pulls the faded sheet around him. The day's warmth lingers on his skin. He closes his eyes and lets sleep come, knowing that tomorrow will bring new tasks, new joys, and the steady promise of honest living. Arun wakes before dawn again, but this morning he does not dress right away. He sits on the edge of his bed, listening to the quiet that hangs in the little house. His mind moves back to yesterday's market, to the warm smiles of his neighbors and the trader's firm handshake. He remembers how valued he felt when people praised his fresh vegetables. For the first time since the barber's humiliation, Arun allows himself to feel proud without apology. He rises slowly and steps outside. The sky is still dark, but the eastern horizon glows faintly with promise. A cool breeze brushes his skin and carries the scent of wildflowers from the edge of the field. He breathes deeply, as though drawing strength from the earth itself. In that moment, he feels calm, centered, and ready for the day's work. Arun gathers his tools and heads to the barn. He plans to repair the roof before the next rain comes. Inside, the light through the small windows shows dust motes floating in the air. He climbs onto a stool, gingerly testing the old wooden beams above. With careful hands, he applies fresh nails and checks for loose boards. He works steadily. The creak of wood under his weight, a quiet companion. When he finishes, he steps back and smiles. The barn is sound again, strong enough to shelter the goats and keep their hay dry. Stepping down, Arun notices a neighbor approaching. It is Mrs. Patel, who lives a few fields over. She stands by the fence, holding a basket of wild berries. "Good morning, Arun," she calls softly. "I thought you might like these for breakfast." She lifts the basket, showing berries bright as polished gems. Arun thanks her, accepting the gift with both hands. He admires the deep color of the berries and imagines their sweet taste. Mrs. Patel leans on the fence and looks out over the land. "I heard in town that someone tried to embarrass you," she says gently. "But everyone here speaks highly of you. Your work feeds us all." Arun nods. He tells her he did not let it trouble him long, and that the kindness he found at the market gave him more joy than the insult took away. Mrs. Patel smiles, her eyes warm. "You have strong roots, Arun. Never forget that." She turns and walks away, leaving Arun alone with the soft morning light. He moves on to the vegetable patch. The plants have grown taller overnight, reaching for the sky like small green soldiers. Dew glistens on leaves and blossoms. He inspects each row, noting where the soil feels dry or where a few stray weeds appear. He kneels, pulling the weeds with gentle tugs and loosening the earth around young roots to help them grow. His fingers are quick, skilled, as though they remember every inch of this soil. As he works, Arun thinks of his late mother. She taught him these fields long ago, planting the first seeds, guiding his small hands. He remembers her soft voice, telling him that every seed holds a life. He smiles, picturing her gentle face and her kind eyes. He wonders if she watched over him now, proud of how he cares for this land. By mid-morning, the sun rises bright and warm. Arun's shirt is damp with sweat. He gathers a basket of fresh lettuce and spinach, planning to sell them in town after lunch. Before he leaves, he makes a quick stop at the old well by the edge of the property. He lowers the bucket, drawing cool water that tastes of stone and earth. He drinks deeply, feeling refreshed. Then he fills his metal cup and straps the basket onto his shoulder. As he walks toward town, people wave and greet him. A group of children follow behind, curious about the bright green leaves peeking from his basket. Arun smiles and stops by a low stone wall. He pulls out a few leaves of lettuce and hands them to the children, who nibble gratefully and laugh. With delight, their laughter rings like bells across the road. Arun crouches to their level and ruffles the hair of one little boy who looks especially pleased. "Eat well," he says gently. The children wave and run back home, their voices fading behind him. When he reaches town, he heads first to the tailor's shop. He needs a small repair on his trousers before the day grows too hot. The tailor, Mr. Das, greets him with a broad smile. "Arun, you are always welcome," he says. Arun hands him the trousers. As Mr. Das works the needle, he comments on the market news. "Your vegetables were the talk of the square," he says. Everyone praised the taste. Arun feels a warm glow. He thanks Mr. Das and promises to bring more produce next week. From the tailor's shop, Arun strolls to the cafe where he plans to have his midday meal. The cafe is small and cozy, with wooden tables and a counter lined with jars of pickles. "Mrs. Iyer," the owner greets him behind the counter. "I saved your favorite dish," she says with a wink. Arun orders rice and lentils with a side of fresh curd. As he eats, thinks about how connected he feels to this community. Everyone's kindness feels like threads weaving into the fabric of his life. A few young farmers from a nearby village enter the cafe and spot Arun. They sit at his table and ask about his crops. Arun shares tips on the best seeds for this season and how to protect plants from bugs. The farmers listen intently, nodding at his advice. One of them says, "You should teach a class in farming here." Arun laughs softly. He tells them he grows vegetables because he loves the land, not for fame. The farmers thank him and promise to visit his farm someday. After lunch, Arun returns to his home with an empty basket and a heart full of gratitude. He sets the basket on the porch, wipes his hands, and sits for a moment in the shade. The afternoon air is calm, and the fields beyond his home are alive with color. He watches a pair of sparrows flit through the air, their wings flashing brown and white in the sun. He breathes in slowly, savoring the peaceful scene. He decides to spend the afternoon repairing a small section of fence near the well. He gathers His tools and moves to the spot. As he works, his mind drifts back to the barber's parlor, recalls the sneer on the barber's lips and the laughter of strangers. But those memories no longer wound him as sharply. The kindness he found it, the market, the shared smiles, the respect of neighbors, they stand stronger now than any insult could. By late afternoon, the fence stands straight and true. Arun wipes sweat from his forehead and stands to admire his work. He feels the slight ache in his muscles, a reminder that every good thing requires effort. He smiles at the thought. Tomorrow, he plans to plant a new row of carrots and to check on the young goat's hoof one more time. He's learning that small tasks done well build a life worth living. As the sun begins to set, painting the sky in warm hues of gold and purple, Arun walks back to the house. He gathers a few wild berries from Mrs. Patel's gift and mixes them with the soft curd he brought from the cafe. The sweet burst of berries with the tangy curd tastes like celebration. He savors each spoonful, thinking of all he has and all he has overcome this week. After dinner, he steps outside and leans against the fence. The night sky opens above him, filled with countless stars. A gentle breeze rustles the leaves around him. He feels a sense of belonging so deep that he closes his eyes and breathes it in. He thinks of his mother's teachings, the advice of friends, and the respect he earned at the market. Thinks of the path that led him here, from dawn's quiet. Hushed to the laughter of children, from the sting of humiliation to the warmth of community. In the darkness, Arun makes a promise to himself, to carry this lesson always. Will let no stranger's words shake him again. He will honor his work, his land, and the people who share his world. With that promise held close in his heart, he steps back inside his home. He lights the small oil lamp by his bed, opens his book of poems, and reads a few lines by the soft glow. His heavy eyes close and sleep finds him quickly, wrapping him in dreams of green fields, friendly faces, and the bright promise of tomorrow's sunrise. The next morning, Arun steps out into a bright sky, eager to get back to his fields. As he moves among the rows of vegetables, he notices something new: tire tracks leading toward his small irrigation channel. Curiosity stirs in him as he follows the tracks to find a smart-looking man standing by the water wheel. The man wears polished boots and a crisp shirt, nothing like the plain clothes Arun usually sees. He holds a rolled-up map and examines the channel's stones as if reading a book. "Good morning," Arun calls, approaching with a polite nod. The man looks up and offers a friendly smile. "Good morning," he replies. "I'm Mr. Sharma. I heard you're the best farmer in the area. I have some fields nearby, and I need help fixing my irrigation channel. I wondered if you might lend your skills." Arun's heart beats a little faster. He recognizes Mr. Sharma's name. He is a well-known estate owner with many businesses in town, including the large hotel. Arun nods respectfully. "I would be glad to help, sir," he says, trying to keep his voice steady. Mr. Sharma hands Arun the map and points to a section of the channel where water is leaking onto the path. Together, they walk the length of the channel. Arun explains how loose stones allow water to escape and how a solid seal of clay and small pebbles can guide all the water to the fields. Mr. Sharma listens carefully, asking questions that show he values Arun's knowledge. They bend over the channel and work side by side, Arun arranging stones, Mr. Sharma handing tools and learning from each action. The morning sun climbs higher, but neither man seems to notice the heat. They share ideas and quiet jokes, as though they have worked together for years rather than hours. By midday, the channel runs clear. Water flows smoothly into the fields, glinting in the sun like a ribbon of silver. Mr. Sharma tests the flow, smiling with satisfaction. "This is better than I imagined," he says. "You have a gift, Arun. I would like to offer you a position managing my farms and estates. I need someone I can trust, someone who knows the land and works honestly." Arun feels a rush of surprise and gratitude. He bows his head slightly. "Thank you, sir. I am honored, but I must think on it. My own farm needs me as well." Mr. Sharma nods. "Of course. Take your time. Know the value of hard work, and I will wait for your decision." After lunch, Mr. Sharma departs. Leaving Arun standing next to the repaired channel, Arun wipes sweat from his brow and watches the water flow. He thinks of his own farm, the goats, his small house, and the fields that have fed him for years. Wonders what it would be like to care for many more acres to plant crops, across wide estates, and to meet new challenges. The thought both excites and humbles him. Over the next day, Arun returns to his usual routine, but with a gentle shift in his heart. He still tends his own vegetables, feeds the goats, and fixes the fence. But each time he passes the canal, repaired for Mr. Sharma, he remembers the offer and feels a new sense of possibility. In the market, he hears whispers among the townsfolk. Did you hear? Mr. Sharma wants Arun to work for him. Some speak with admiration, others with surprise that a humble farmer could rise so high. Arun listens politely but does not let it distract him. He values the respect of his neighbors, but trusts his own judgment above all. That evening, as he sits by lantern light reading his mother's book of poems, Arun turns over the choice in his mind. He thinks of the secure future Mr. Sharma's estates could bring. Regular pay, a comfortable house, perhaps support for improved tools and seeds. He also thinks of his own fields, his simple home, and the life he built from nothing. He realizes that whatever he chooses, he cannot ignore his love for the land and his joy in small accomplishments. The next morning, Arun rises with clarity. He dresses in his plain clothes, but wears his best shirt. The one with the mother-of-pearl buttons his late mother saved money to buy. With a sense of purpose, he walks the familiar path to Mr. Sharma's main estate, following the curve of the canal they fixed. The estate gate stands tall, its wood polished, and its iron hinges oiled. Arun lifts his hand and knocks. Guard opens the gate and recognizes him, nodding with respect. "Mr. Arun, sir," the guard says, stepping aside. "Mr. Sharma awaits you in the pavilion." Arun walks through manicured gardens where flower beds glow with color. He breathes in the scent of jasmine and roses, a world apart from his own fields, but beautiful in its own way. Ahead, Mr. Sharma stands beneath a shaded pavilion, studying a chart of planting zones. When he sees Arun, he folds the chart and greets him warmly. "Thank you for coming," he says, gesturing to a carved wooden bench. They sit and share tea served in fine cups. The warm liquid tastes of cardamom and honey, and Arun savors each sip. Mr. Sharma asks Arun about his farm, its challenges, its successes, and his dreams. Arun speaks honestly, describing his small home, the goats, the market sales, and how he learned from his mother. Mr. Sharma listens intently, admiring Arun's humility and deep knowledge. After a long pause, Mr. Sharma nods. "Your heart is in the right place. I would like you to join me, not as a simple manager, but as my partner in the farms. I will provide a home close to your own land and enough freedom to care for your goats. Together, we will grow more food and share its rewards." Tears prickle Arun's eyes as gratitude overflows. He bows his head, unable to speak at first. When he lifts it, he says, "Thank you, sir. I will join you and work with all my heart." Mr. Sharma clasps Arun's hand firmly. "Welcome, partner. We will begin next week." As Arun stands too. "Leave." Mr. Sharma pauses and smiles. "By the way," he says, "I own that little barber shop in town where you had your hair cut. I apologize for how you were treated. You are welcome there any time, and I will speak to the barber." Arun is taken aback. He stares at Mr. Sharma, surprise and relief flooding him. "You own that parlor?" he asks softly. Mr. Sharma chuckles. "I own many businesses, including that one. I did not know you were the man working my land until I saw you here. Now I see the true value of caring hands and honest work." Arun nods, feeling a weight lift from his chest. The sting from the barbershop fades into the background, replaced by the warmth of Mr. Sharma's respect and the promise of a new life. He thanks Mr. Sharma again and leaves the pavilion, stepping back into the sunlight. The path home feels different, now wider and lined with possibility. Arun walks with steady steps, ready to begin this next chapter, knowing that his humble roots and honest labor have led him here. Back in his own fields that afternoon, Arun looks over the rows of vegetables with new eyes. He feels the land under his boots, solid and true, and he knows he will care for it well, not just his own patch, but many fields across the estate. As the sun dips low, painting the sky in soft colors, Aaron's heart swells with hope. He hears the gentle rush of the canal water and remembers how a simple act of fixing stones can flow outward into unexpected places. Tomorrow he will work alongside Mr. Sharma's team, but today he basks in the quiet pride of knowing that honest work and humble heart can change a life. Arun steps back onto the farm after his meeting with Mr. Sharma. The afternoon sun is low, and long shadows stretch across the rows of vegetables he has cared for since dawn. Though he carries the news of his new partnership like a bright lantern, in his heart he cannot shake a small flutter of nerves. He knows that tomorrow he will begin work alongside Mr. Sharma's managers, and that day after that he will help plan crops across the larger estate. Yet beneath his excitement lies a quiet question. Will he ever feel truly at home among polished floors and grand houses? That evening, as he tends the goats in their pen, Arun feels content. He sets out fresh water in a trough, smooths straw into their sleeping area, and casts one last look over the fields. The land feels familiar under his boots, and the goats nuzzle his hand as if to thank him for another day of care. He closes the gate gently and makes his way to the small house he calls home. Inside, he lights the oil lamp, its warm glow revealing the simple comforts around him. A wooden table with a neatly folded shirt, a small shelf holding his mother's book of poems, and a single window framing the darkening sky. He eats a quiet meal of rice and lentils, savoring the familiar flavors. His mind drifts back to Mr. Sharma's words that he would become a partner, not a mere manager. Arun had felt honored, even surprised, but he had also felt a strange flutter, something more than respect or friendship. He wonders if tomorrow will bring more of that feeling as he steps into a new world that seems both welcoming and unknown. After dinner, Arun sits by the window with his mother's book. He reads a few lines of poetry that speak of journeys and homecoming. The words remind him of journeys he took with his mother as a boy, walking through these very fields, her hand in his. He closes the book and looks out at the stars shining. Bright above him, he breathes deeply, letting the cool night air fill his lungs. He feels gratitude for all that has come to him, the love of the land, the kindness of neighbors, and now the promise of a future beyond his own fields, before sleep takes him. He thinks of the barber shop where he first felt humiliated. He remembers the sneer of the young barber and the laughter of strangers. He imagines himself walking into that small parlor tomorrow, no longer the same man who had bowed his head. Instead, he pictures crossing the threshold with the confidence of someone who has proven his worth not by clothes or boots, but by honest labor and unwavering heart. The next morning, Arun rises before dawn, as he always does, but today he dresses carefully. He chooses his best shirt still plain, but neatly prestand his cleanest trousers. He brushes his hair gently with his fingers, trusting that his value lies beyond appearances. He gathers the tools he will need to help Mr. Sharma's team at the pavilion and sets out on the road to the estate. When he arrives, he finds a small group of Mr. Sharma's managers gathered around the irrigation channel they repaired. They greet him warmly, nodding with respect. Arun works alongside them, showing how to reinforce the banks and adjust the flow. His hands move with practiced ease, and his quiet confidence settles over the group like a steady rhythm. They ask questions, and he answers, sharing the lessons his mother taught him years ago. As the water runs clear, sparkling in the morning light, the managers clap each other on the back. Arun smiles, feeling both proud and at peace. Midday approaches, and Mr. Sharma invites Arun to join him back at the pavilion for tea. The managers disperse, and Arun follows Mr. Sharma along the shaded path. Of every huan, the air smells of jasmine. They settle beneath the carved wooden roof, where 2 steaming cups await them. Arun sips the sweet spiced tea and listens as Mr. Sharma speaks of plans. New crops to try, better tools to use, and even a small school to teach young farmers techniques passed down through generations, Arun feels honored. He reaches out and places a steady hand on Mr. Sharma's arm. "I am grateful for your trust," he says. "I will give my best to these fields and to your vision." Mr. Sharma smiles and nods, his eyes bright. "I know you will, Father." Arun drops his cup, startled. He looks up at Mr. Sharma's calm face. "Father?" he echoes, the word heavy on his lips. Mr. Sharma's expression is gentle. "Yes," he says. "I am your son." Arun's heart pounds loud, as though trying to break free. He struggles to understand. "But how? You cannot be my son. Never married, and I never had children." His voice trembles. Mr. Sharma sets his cup aside and studies Arun with clear eyes. "Many years ago, I was a boy living with relatives far from here." Mr. Sharma begins softly. "My mother was young and desperate. She came to this village seeking work and a fresh start. She met you, and for a time you cared for her like family. When I was born, she entrusted me to another household, hoping to give me a better life. She never told me my father's name, but she spoke of his kind heart and his hands that loved the earth." Arun's breath catches. He remembers a young woman who came to the farm, carrying a child. He remembers the soft fear in her eyes and the way she held the baby close. He remembers her promise to return. "My mother," he whispers. "Her name was Mena." Mr. Sharma nods, tears glistening in his eyes. "She spoke of you often. She named me Arjun, after the hero of an old story you told her. I never knew he was real until I repaired the irrigation channel and met you here." Arun feels the world tilt. He sinks to the wooden floor of the pavilion, his legs too weak to stand. He bows his head, overcome by emotion. "My son," he breathes. I never knew." Mr. Sharma kneels beside him. "I searched for you for years," he says, "but I feared you might not remember me, that you would have moved on." Arun looks up, tears slipping down his cheeks. He places trembling hands on his son's face. "I remember your mother," he says, voice thick. "I remember holding her in my arms and feeling your weight against my chest." Mr. Sharma smiles through his tears and embraces Arun. "I always hoped you would care for the land and the people," he says. "I see now that you cared for me." They hold each other in the quiet hush of the pavilion, the chirp of birds, and the rustle of leaves wrapping around them like a blessing. After a long moment, Arun stands and offers his son his arm. Together they walk through the gardens back to the estate house. Word of their reunion spreads quickly among the managers, the guards, and the gardeners. People pause to bow or to offer congratulations. Arun feels a warmth he has never known, as though every kind gesture in town and every smile at the market led to this moment that evening. The estate gathers for a small feast in Arun's honor. Long wooden tables are set with fresh vegetables. From his farm, fragrant rice and sweet desserts. Neighbors from his village are invited alongside Mr. Sharma's managers. Laughter and music fill the air. Arun and his son sit together at the head of the table. Mr. Sharma raises a cup of tea. "To my father," he says, "whose humble heart and honest hands built not just these fields, but the life I cherish. May we grow together in kindness and in joy." Glasses clink and a cheer rises. Arun lifts his cup and looks around at the faces shining back at him. His neighbors, his managers, his son. He thinks of the journey that led him here, of humble mornings, feeding goats, of fields tended with loving care, of a moment of humiliation that gave way to respect, and of a simple act of fixing a channel that led to partnership. And now of the greatest gift, family found at last. He raises his cup higher. "To family," he says, voice steady, "and to the land that brought us together." The feast bursts into applause. Arun sits back, feeling a contentment so deep it stills his racing heart. He takes his son's hand and shares a smile that says all he feels. When the celebration winds down and the lanterns flicker low, Arun steps outside into the night. The stars shine bright and the air is warm with the memory of laughter. His son follows him, standing at his side. Arun looks up at the sky and breathes in the moment. He feels whole. No longer just a humble farmer, no longer just a partner in an estate. He is now a father cherished and found. And he knows that every Dawn ahead will bring new blessings, grown from the simple seed of a father's love.